Our next award goes to a man whose story is truly astonishing. Throughout his life, he has suffered setbacks almost beyond our comprehension. And yet, no matter what he's had to face, the spirit of Mark Pollock has proved truly unbreakable.
Mark makes people realise that the problems that they have in life are actually quite trivial.
When he was 5 years old, Mark lost the sight in his right eye. Very few people would have realised how little he could actually see, because it certainly didn't get in his way at all. He was a very sporty wee guy.
I'm an athlete and I'm not interested in just going out for a walk in the mountains. I always wanted to compete. It was 1998, I was 22. I was rowing for Ireland and for the university, and I had a job offer to start in London after my graduation, and in the space of 2 weeks I went blind. And apart from losing my sight, I also lost my identity.
Mark learnt from his blindness that the only way to live life is in the fast lane.
The essence of Mark's story, I suppose, is that things are always possible. Nothing is unachievable. And if you want to do something and put your mind to it, you really can.
So I set myself the challenge of racing to the South Pole. It took 43 days at temperatures of -50, dragging sledges, camping, melting snow to make water and to rehydrate our food. And as I arrived and skied into the South Pole, I got a great sense of contentment, not a short-lived champagne popping moment, but a deep sense of contentment, satisfaction that we had made it, that it had been worth it. And I hoped it would put the demons of blindness behind me. Just over a year later, I had my most recent accident. I fell from a second-story window and landed on the ground below. I fractured my skull and bleeds in my brain. My ribs were broken, chest was filled with blood, and I couldn't feel or move my legs.
I think everyone who visited Mark, especially in the first months when he was very, very sick, was allowed to sit by the bed and have a good cry. Everyone was able to be sad.
Going into the hospital to see my big, tanned, handsome son lying close to death was unbearable. To think that I may lose him.
I spent nearly 18 months in hospital, and the last 6 months I've been trying to get life back on track. 50 or 60 years ago, if you had a spinal cord injury, it was likely to be terminal. Now we're just at a point in time where people are starting to think differently about what might be possible in the future.
He's determined not to be restricted to a life of just acceptance, being in the wheelchair. He wants to challenge conventional wisdom, challenge the norm.
My new South Pole, my new challenge, has had me standing and walking in robotic legs. Now I'm up to nearly 550 steps in half an hour now, so who knows if it'll be successful for me, but if it's not successful for me, it certainly will feed into what happens and the prospects for other people in the future.
He said to me the other day that if you fill your life with good things, there isn't time to think about the bad stuff.
Well, the sky's still the limit for Mark. He's got a new sky to reach.
There is a life after paralysis, so on one hand I've got to accept that I'm paralysed, that I'm in a wheelchair, and learn to live life in the wheelchair. But I also have hope that I will walk again.